Good afternoon, everyone. 12 o'clock. I am here to share with you a preview of a deck that's going to be released in June of this year through Llewelyn Books. And it's the DarkWood Tarot. There's been quite a few people curious about this deck and wanting to know more about it. So I was honored to receive a preview of this deck from Llewelyn, and realizing that this deck has not been released publicly for another few more months, I had to jump on it. So I'm going to leave this review very open, so feel free to leave comments. I will try and address the comments as I'm discussing this. And answer any questions. I have not read with this deck yet. I've just skimmed through the guidebook, and the guidebook is very informative. Sasha, who's the mind behind this deck, and Abigail, Larson, who did a beautiful job illustrating this tarot deck. Those two creative forces, worked very well in describing the deck and depicting it in such a way. And I think many people like it. I was pretty surprised so far by looking at this and seeing how imagery-wise it was, it kind of honed into me. I used to be an old school goth rocker, and I lived everything dark and liked, black and the unknown and stuff, which I still do. But this deck is a deck to work with one's own shadow. So there's a lot of dark imagery in it. Some of the imagery is sensual. So please be careful when you get this deck, who you are gifting it to. Make sure they are mature and can understand the nature of this deck. So I'm going to I'm going to go through the box. I'm going to show you the design of the box. I'm very detailed when I do reviews. So I will show you detail of the box. I will go through the book very lightly, and then I will go through the cards. I still have the cards in their wrapper, but I went through the book, as I mentioned earlier, looking at the images, because I didn't want to open the deck just yet until I was doing this preview. So without further ado, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here is the DarkWood Tarot. The boxing is a deep olive green color. And I will show you this right here. There you go. I don't know if you're seeing this in reverse. I'm not certain. So that's the front of the box. And just to highlight, in the deck, she's referred to, and in the book, she's referred to as the Shadow Witch. This is our guide throughout the tarot deck in our journey. So you'll see reference of her and who she encounters as she traverses through the forest. The forest represents our deeper selves, the unconscious state, the state that we really don't delve into too often. And we need to really connect with it. Once we connect more with the deeper self and get a better understanding, everything at the conscious level begins to be cohesive. So here's the front of the deck. Here's the spine. Okay, and the spine is the magnetic opening. And then we've got the back of the deck here, or the back of the box. Okay, you won't see it very clearly, but throughout the deck, it's an olive green color. And then here's the back part. And it is, yes, the back of the spine and the front of the spine, they're both the same. And again, this is the DarkWood Tarot, created by Abigail Larson, she's the illustrator, and Sasha Graham, who created this deck. So now inside, here's the inside. Graphic is beautiful. You have the red ribbon. Red seems to be the highlighted color that does show up in some of the images. And here we have the back side of the card. So you can do reverses with this. Sasha does speak about the use of reversals for using this deck, and also how to read reversals when doing shadow work. Okay, so that's the inside. I love this. This is just beautiful. This could be the Ace of Pentacles. And then you see here we have the doorway. It's all glossy. As you can see, there's quite a bit of a highlight of the box. But I like the book size of this box. Like most of the Llewelyn decks, they're all book size to protect the cards. The only drawback, and I did hear a comment with another person who does tarot when it comes to the Llewelyn packaging. The hard boxes are great. We want to protect our decks the best way possible. The only thing is that you have to get a bag. There's not a tut box that comes with it. You're going to have to create something separate or get a bag to hold this if you want to travel. If you're mobile when you do your readings. A lot of people just don't want to carry this big thing around. So it's common with the Llewelyn decks that a lot of the packaging is hard box. So it's good for home, but to travel, you need to get your own. Alrighty. So I'm going to do the deck last. I want to show you the book. The book's full color. The great thing about this deck is about this book is it's so informative. I'm not going to read so much from the book. I'll just pick out highlights from it. The last part that I was reading was going to the reoccurring patterns. The reoccurring patterns are things that we see in our everyday life, but in some situations we see it more frequently. We see things more frequently than we would do on other days. People talk about repeating numbers, seeing the same number pattern, seeing colors, seeing a lot of reds, greens, whatever, but coming up more consistently. So I will read from here, just making reference. She has a section here in the book called Reoccurring Patterns, and she talks a little bit about this, the patterning that we see when it comes to reading the tarot and how it affects interpreting the reading. So let me go here. We are often aware of the recurring patterns of our life as we brush up against the same challenges and issues again and again. Like a wolf in sheep's clothing, we find ourselves in similar situations with a new cast of characters. Identical relationship challenges occur with different people. Professional blockages rear their heads repeatedly. Once we understand the repetition occurs to aid in our evolution, we can embrace it. Those who are awake and consciously aware of the changes in the patterns, the repetition, dissipates. Tarot numbers provide us with useful information. You'll observe numerical patterns in large spreads and the cycles of your daily draws. Use numerical information to pad your basic understanding of the cards. So from 1 to 10, 1 is beginnings, which we see in aces. 2 is partnership, duality, creating balance. 3 is honing in that creativity, bringing it in together. 4 is structure, structuring everything that you've done from 1 to 3. 5, we're halfway into the minor arcanas. There's 10 suits in each major arcana. So when we hit 5, we are halfway into our journey. And at some point, we're going to have challenges. And so number 5 represents challenges, struggles, obstacles, which we all have in life. 6, heart expansion, seeing everything, feeling everything, connecting with it. Number 7 is delving into the spiritual side, the unknown of what you've experienced so far. Almost doing like a spiritual assessment of what you've experienced from 1 to 6. 8, infinite perfection, meaning that we are now getting a grasp of everything that we've done. And we're fine-tuning it, we're honing it, we're trying to move it closer to perfection. Number 9, wish fulfillment. How everything that we've accomplished from the beginning to the infinite perfection. How do we bring it to a close? And then 10 is the ending, it's completion. It's everything that we've done from 1 to 9, how we've utilized it, how we've experienced it, and bringing it to an end, and then going back to the beginning again. Life has all these cycles to it. So that's one aspect that Sasha describes in the book here. So here we are with the DarkWood Tarot. This is the guidebook, your guide through the DarkWood Tarot. It's the front of it. And here's the back of it. Glossy as well. I'll just show you the opening page of it. It has the symbology for DarkWood. And the first was probably, let me see here. She has like about 45 pages, 46 pages, where she gives a description of her intention of this deck. And then she does a prologue. The prologue is basically an introduction to introducing you to this deck, how you will enter into the realm of the DarkWood Shadow deck. And then she goes into breaking it down. There's the Fool. The Fool is the archetype of the child. And if someone could send me a comment, I'm not certain if you're seeing this right side up or if you're seeing it reversed. And here's the image for the Fool. Just beautiful. And then she has, as you can see here, she has the meaning. She has a story behind it. She gives an explanation of it. It's about 2 pages. And then she goes into the detail of the animal's representation, her actions, the energy that's going around her. She's getting ready to meet the edge of the cliff. Let's see here. So here's the cover. She represents the Hermit. The wisdom of silence is deafening. Hermit is the archetype of the sage. Her use of red is very prominent. It stands out, and we have, like I said, it's an olive green background. Here for the Emperor, we have the color that represents the color of energy, red, orange, for the Emperor. The Emperor is the archetype of the father. It's in the book. I just want to show a little bit of the book so you could get an idea. Ten of Wands, we start going into the minor arcana. She gives, again, like a page and a half, 2 pages, depending on the subject matter. 10 of Wands. And I will be showing you the cards in a moment. That's the imagery of it. Again, she gives the meaning, the standard meaning. And then she gives the shadow meaning of this. So that's a little bit of the guidebook for the DarkWood Tarot. And it's your guide through the DarkWood Tarot. And I'm going to show you, just graphics-wise, you know how much is going to show up. There's quite a bit of yellow actually in here, in front of the book, like a warmish yellow background. And then here is the book, or the box. Let me do this so you can see better. There we go. So it's hard to see, but there is a color difference between the two. The book has more of a yellow highlight to emphasize the background of the Shadow Witch. The same here in the back. It's a bit of a highlight. And then here it's darker. Okay. So here we go with the deck. Opening it right now. Standard size tarot deck. It's about like 2.5 by probably 3 3/4. Always have to smell the deck. Okay. And everything's glossy. We can usually get a hint from the packaging of a tarot deck how the cards are going to be with their finish. So the book that's glossy, it's all full color. The box, glossy finish, and so are the cards. So I will go through this as quick as I can. I have not seen. Yes, they are all in order from what I can see right now. So we're going to go to the Major Arcana, start from the Major Arcana, and then we're going to go into the Minor Arcana. Wow, this is amazing. Let my music down here a little bit. Actually, let me do this really quick since I want to section this off. Okay. Okay. Here we go. There's the Fool. And again, the back of the cards, all the same. It's like an olive green, yellowy color. I live up in the mountains and we are in between storms right now, so my lighting is going to be changing. So the colors are going to be shifting, the lighting's going to be shifting. So again, this is the Fool. If anyone's joining in, this is the DarkWood Tarot preview by Sasha and Abigail Larson. This is our Magician. So the elements there on the table, the Infinity. And there is a border around this deck, but it's very light. I know there's quite a few people who are not fans of borders, but the border's thin. I don't think it's going to break up anything. And I hope no one decides to cut this deck, because if you do, the borders are pretty inside the card. And so I think if you cut it down, it's going to really be a disservice for using the deck. So here's the High Priestess. Here we have the Empress. She's pregnant, leaning against the dark trees in the forest, the DarkWood Tarot. Go with the Emperor. Round, very simple. The Hierophant. The Hierophant in the shape of a tree, holding a scroll with the keys of the unknown that are crossed. And there with her left hand, she has a little, there we go, so you can see it. She has a little glimmer of light. It could be her power hand on the left. The Lovers. An embrace, being overlooked. Normally, I want to say this could be the Hierophant that's just not trying to be a peeping Tom, but just basically with the Lovers, it's just overseeing the union and putting these two souls together. We have the full moon right behind. Okay, I haven't seen this deck entirely, so I'll probably pause. Here we have the Chariot, just normally ruled by Cancer, but here we have the Eagle. It's number 7. Okay, and again, the color of this, it's like, overall, it's an olive green color. It's unfortunate that the lighting here isn't showing it properly. And we have Strength. The Cobra there. And again, this is what we experience. This is a shadow work deck. And these are the challenges and some of the experiences that people go through when doing shadow work. And there's our Hermit. Let me tilt it down like that. Wheel of Fortune. Snake wrapped around. Wheel of Fortune is the karmic card. They have different colored gargoyles. Reading, being mischievous. Justice. So this deck will be easy to follow. It follows through the Rider-Waite-Smith tradition. So for people who are new to tarot and you love the imagery of this, I feel you'll be able to grasp the deck and understand it. And she gives a breakdown. Sasha gives a breakdown of reading with this deck in relation to the Rider-Waite-Smith system. The hangman is actually a hanged woman, turning things upside down. Okay, we're in the major arcana for people who are joining in. It's 12. I'm just going to flip this around, just so how you could see it reversed. Okay. I want to hold the cards up for like 5 seconds so you can actually look at the detail. And this is Death. Then the illustrator of this deck is Abigail Larson. She's very prolific with her work. She's worked for Walt Disney Sci-Fi Channel. Very fantasy, dark fairy tale-ish. Let's see here. 14. Temperance. I'm just going to tilt the card a little bit so the cards right now, the major arcana, very simple. As you can see, she's playing with the elements, creating the balance. We have the castle in the background. The devil. Not too much information, very specific. We have the tower and we see its traditional depiction. The lightning hitting it. A sudden awakening, a sudden change in the conscious level. Time to break down those barriers. The bats in the belfry, if you want to say that, being released. Everything from the past is being let go of. It's the tower. And again, there's borders, as you see, but they're very thin. The coloring of this is like an olive green color. It's consistent, just different shades. This is a deeper green color. We're moving into the star. About to put her foot in the water. Quiet. Bats are also representative of instinct. She does have the bats show up, as we see here in the moon card. So you can use the symbology of the bats, the two dogs in the background, or wolves. Animal instinct, our primal instinct, but going deeper. And there we have the moon. Moon's ruled by Pisces. We have the two towers. Letting go. This is actually a wonderful card, statement-wise. She's in the emotions. She's in the realm of the emotions, and she's just letting go. And then the journey awaits her up ahead. Okay, here's the sun. This is the DarkWood Tarot I'm doing a preview of. There's the sun there, so let me tilt it so you can see it. It's being blown out. There we go. Sun ruled by Leo, vitality. She's riding the dark horse. Judgment. Reaching within ourselves, our inner desires, and making careful choices. In the cemetery. Dancing with death. And the world. The fox, the cat, the spider, the lizard, or the salamander. I don't know, I could probably read the cat maybe as emotions, the fox maybe as earth, the spider maybe intellect, and the salamander up here for fire energy, 4 different elements. Normally in the world we would see the eagle, the bull, the angel, and there's one other element that one other aspect that I'm missing of that circle. So that's the world major arcana, the DarkWood Tarot. And I will show the back again. You see there's detail, got 2 bats. Again, you could do reversals with them. Mirrors. Okay, so let's go into the elements. If anyone has any questions, of course, feel free to post. Ace of Wands. Okay, so we're going to move into the fire element. Again, the DarkWood Tarot is a dark theme deck, so we're dealing with the shadow, the unknown, things that are uncanny. And the character throughout who is experiencing this journey of the Darkwood is known as the Shadow Witch, which we all are. So here we have the 2 of Wands. See all the apples. Three of Wands. little bit closer. Here we go again with the bats. Four of Wands. The detail in this. Of the troll almost underneath the bridge. They're not quite. And then as you see here, we have some creatures hiding in the tree. Five of Wands. Little thin gargoyles. Conflicting with each other, fighting for each other or against each other. Six of Wands. For those who are viewing it, I'd like to know how you feel about what you're seeing with the imagery of this deck. We've already gone through the minor arcana. We go Seven of Wands. Eight of Wands. Fiery energy. And we have the Jester. Ten of Wands. Big Devilish. Be interesting to use this deck exclusively for shadow work, because all the images depicted have different aspects of dark energy. And also a reminder, we have the candles, we have lights. It's not complete darkness. We do have those guides there for us. This one I like. So we're moving into the court cards. It's the Page of Wands. Page is representative of someone who is a novice, new, learning something about themselves and using their energy here. In this case, the Page of Wands. Excuse me. The Knight of Wands. Imagery is very atmospheric. We have our Queen of Wands. Knowing how to work with the energy that you have within. And she has her familiar. And a cat there with the red eyes. Let me move, trying to get away from this highlight. There we go. King of Wands. strong, unyielding, ready to take action. King of Wands. So that's our first element, the Wands. Now we're going to move into Cups. I will in a moment. Let me break my last two up here. So here's Ace of Cups. Let me show the other ace here in comparison. Don't worry, I'm not going to go through a comparison, the entire suite. Okay, so you see the fiery energy of the Ace of Wands, the sensitive nature, the Ace of Cups. Also look at the direction of the hands, how the hands are being portrayed based on their element. The hand here, Ace of Cups, is more giving. Ace of Wands here is getting ready to grab the wand and to put work to it. So we're doing Ace of Cups. Here's our Two of Cups. Two of Cups. This is almost like the love card that people would like to see come up on occasion in readings. It's harmony, it's friendship, it's compatibility. Here we have it represented by two dark horses. One's lighter than the other one's dark, opposing opposites in harmony. Three of Cups. And cats represent also our feminine side, our feline. Our feline self. Okay, Four of Cups. And also look at the eyes and the animals and some of the characters. Here we have one of the foxes that has captured a hare. Yeah, the eyes in a lot of the characters here, they're dark. They have no pupils, so they're all blackened eyes. And here we go for another example. Five of Cups, we have the hare. Emotional loss. Vulnerability. We have the cups here. Two cups up, three cups down. Standard representation of not managing the emotions well. A lot of hardship coming from it, emotional hardship. Excuse me. Six of Cups. There's a lot happening here. See the crow, raven. I'm going to go a little closer. Getting ready to feed. And we have the cups that are sort of just dangling. They have irises or, no, I'm trying to think of the name of the flower right now. And the cups, the white flowers, flowers of peace and love, potential. Seven of Cups. We go with the bats. And look at the elements here on the bottom. I'm going to just move this card up a little closer. We have the moon, we have the snake. These are choices, options. We have the laurel wreath. You can tell this cup is empty on this side. The Seven of Cups, normally we would see, just to back up a little bit, we normally would see the back of the person towards us. We're not paying attention to what's there behind them, actually. Maybe they decide not to make a choice and walk away from it. Here we go. Eight of Cups. The crescent moon. Crescent moon looks like it's waxing. Nine of Cups. Ten of Cups. I like this one. Completion of the heart. Family-oriented card. Full moon. Contentment. And even in the shadow realm, we can have contentment emotionally. So we're going to move into the cups. Here we go, Page of Cups. Young lady. Elf, fairy tale-ish figure. The color on this, so if I hold back, you can see a little bit better. It's a greenish blue, more green than it is blue. Here we go. Knight of Cups. Gentleman who is awaiting for love, being open to it. Normally we would see the knights on horses. In this case, we're seeing a sane being developed. Manifesting their true love. Oops. It's the Queen. The woman that we can always go to for comfort. A little closer so you can see. And then we have the King. And if you look very carefully, I'm going to put the King and Queen together. So you can see how they line up. They're both touching the waters of emotion, the river. And then the King, I almost want to say it's like a transference of energy from the Queen as she touches the water, connecting to the King. And then her persona transforms into this ghostly figure. It's like she becomes this ethereal spirit from her cup to his cup. I think that's a frog that we have there. This is a beautiful relationship with the cards, the way that they're being intertwined. I like this. So that's our water elements. The cups, we did the wands. We're now going into our air element. Air representing thoughts and the mind. And there's the Ace of Swords. Always represented by, for the most part, traditionally, the hand traveling or being powered through the cloud. It's the beginning of the journey. Pretty straightforward. Ace of Swords. There's Two of Swords. If you look in the background, with the shadowy figures, what's really going on in our thoughts as opposed to at the conscious level. I'm going to flip this over. And here we see, this is the reverse. So here we see still blindfolded, but her environment has changed. She doesn't have any of the shadowy figures bothering her. This is an interesting reversal card. So if this card ends up being reversed, it's actually the opposite of the negative, which in this card is actually upright. So we have the Two of Swords. This is the upright position. This is addressing the negativity and how our thoughts are processing things. And then if it comes at reverse, it actually ends up being more of a positive meaning. So Two of Swords. All right, Three of Swords. Do we have a heart that's being put through swords, or do we have just the three swords on their own? Then we have a spider. Here's the Three of Swords. As dark as this deck is, I like that it's not graphic, because there's some decks out there that represent the Ten of Swords. The Swords suit, as we know, is a pretty intense one for people to work through when it comes to readings. And some of the imagery can be graphic. I have to read a little bit about what the spider is. Spider is normally representative of hard work and dedication. This could be hard work with the mind, but somehow it's met some challenges. Again, when you get any form of deck, it is open to interpretation. We have the guidebooks to give an understanding from the author's point of view, how she approached the deck and how the elements were set up in such a way to tell a story. It is entirely up to you how you interpret your tarot deck. Here we have Four of Swords. There she has the sword, almost like for protection, but you have three swords that are hovering, and it looks, nope, they are actually being held up by string. I don't know if he actually sees this. Four of Swords. It's like if she awakens, what's going to happen? How is she going to react? How's the mind going to react? When something sudden comes to you, how are you going to reason, put thought into handling that situation? Four of Swords. Five of Swords. Oh, this is a hard card. Betrayal. Very ruthless card. Let me go back so you can see better the coloring. But it's still green. So if you see blue, translate these colors more into green, olive green. Okay, I'm gonna move quickly here. It's the Six of Swords. Taking what she has remaining with her, she journeys down the river. Uncertainty. Paying the price for choices that were made. Then we have a young lady in the distance that's telling her, don't leave. It's dangerous, but she made her choice. The woman in the boat. Seven of Swords. You can see the struggle. Clothes is tattered. She still has an ominous situation happening. The Black Shook. The Black Shook is known as the devil. It's a black dog. I'm not saying it's a Black Shook, but it's how I interpret it. Seven of Swords. Vultures. The rats. Despair. See what happens? You gotta be careful with your choices here. But again, we're not always perfect when making choices, and we can sometimes fall in the wrong direction. Eight of Swords. Then the Nine of Swords, but she's awake. Normally we see, traditionally, someone sleeping, letting their thoughts of conflict and worry hover over them. But in this case, she can't sleep. Into great detail. It's too much worry going on. And I know this is subconscious, but I could just see right here, this sword here looks like it's going right through her mind, through her head a little bit. That's something I just picked up. I'm certain that was not the intent. But see, that's the interesting thing when you work with the tarot, you'll see so many different details. Let me pull back so you can see a little bit better of the coloring. Oh, here we are. Ten of Swords. Just too overwhelmed. Can't go on. Your mind just took the best of you and just destroyed everything. Can't wait to get to the Pentacles. The Pentacles is almost like the happy story in the tarot for me. Page of Swords. Young person being handed a small sword, utilizing it to guide, for it to be a guide in making choices. Wielding the sword carefully to make good decisions. Learning. The Knight of Swords. He's getting a handle, he's getting a grasp. The sword is now mature. Or is it about the same size? No, it looks like it's bigger. It's longer. The Queen of Swords. I always want to change the name to Queen of Swords to Queen of Intellect, which I know there are a few decks out there where it's been changed to Queen of Intellect or the Intellect. Sitting on a throne against, I don't know if that's a rock or, I see mountains in the background, but the perspective, I can't tell if she is sitting. She has to be sitting on a rock. She lightly holds the sword. She's very confident. She knows how to make decisions. She challenges people. Very, very smart, very wise. Then we have the King of Swords. Okay, if you're joining in, this is the DarkWood Tarot. This is the preview. This deck has not been released yet. It will be released as of now through Llewelyn Books, June 2020. So 2 more months, less than 2 months. And this deck deals with shadow, the shadow side of ourselves. And it's illustrated by Abigail Larson. Here we have the King of Swords, the vultures. Okay, one more down, Pentacles. And if you've missed any of this, tomorrow on Instagram, through the Mystic Rose Tarot, I will be doing a briefer review of this deck. I'm going to just focus with the cards really quickly. I get more, so people can get more engaged and communicate with me about the deck more. There'll be less talk, more pictures. So here we go, Ace of Pentacles. We have the hand here entwined with the green vine. We have the door in the distance. Welcoming us. Interesting, the pentacles look like sand dollars, which I think they are. Here we have a tree, 2 of Pentacles holding these sand dollars. A little Halloweenish, cartoonish tree there. No offense when I say cartoonish. I'm going to call this 3 of sand dollars, but it's 3 of Pentacles. There we go. And again, all these cards are olive green color. Here we have 4 Pentacles. Again, tree. 1 Pentacles above. As you can see there, it's holding the Pentacles. The struggle with the material aspect, the lack of seeing things that are right there, and when you're so broken, you're not realizing that there is potential there. This is a card that you need, if it does show up in a reading, you need to be aware of what's there. What tools are available to you. Look around. Don't get lost in the whole aspect of the despair of what's going on. I'm going to pull back a little bit so you can get a little sense of the coloring. Still doesn't show, but it's olive green. Colors are very, very vibrant. I have an older system, computer system here, so it doesn't really relay it. This is a nice, evil-looking Six of Pentacles. Mephistopheles. Six of Pentacles is just, it could be interpreted in two different ways. It could be someone who's just very frivolous with their money and just giving it away, which is never a bad thing. But in this case, we have this devilish looking figure who could have been the opposite means of how this money came. It could have been stolen. It could have been illegally manifested, and now he's passing that energy down to these people who are desperate. Seven of Pentacles. Scarecrow-ish looking figure in a robe, no face. The loss of everything that was worked for. Eight of Pentacles. Abundance. Actually, the Pentacles of this deck deals with the darker side of material gains and how we handle them. Nine of Pentacles. Wow. I think that's a snail. That's right here. Oh, an acorn. I'm gonna move this away for a second. I think it's a snail. With her wings. Wearing the colors of brown, which are earthy colors for grounding and stability. The sand dollars falling behind her or in place in the background. Normally, Nine of Pentacles is an indication of the wealth that you have attained, which this is. Ten of Pentacles. It's kind of hard to see prosperity in the Pentacles, even though that's what it represents, prosperity and material gains and financial success. We're going to go to the court cards. Her book, Sasha Graham's book, will go into more detail, again, of the meaning of each of these cards. Here's the page. We have the Knight of Pentacles. I'm going to do this side by side here. Just acknowledging the gain that they have, that sand dollar, what it represents to them. How are they going to use use that to their benefit. The Nine of Pentacles. And it's a gargoyle, I'm guessing, or owl. Okay, Queen of Pentacles. Merging with nature. She's sitting in the tree and she's just becoming one. And then we have the hair. The hair is for good luck, abundance. You can see. Beautiful card. And then we have the King of Pentacles, represented by the bull. And it's ruled by Taurus. We are going to be moving into the sign of Taurus, the sun sign of Taurus. Come, depending on your time zone, Sunday, Monday. This is of stability, hard work, and support. And the tree is a supportive, strong part of nature. So the pentacles represent that durability and that strength of working hard. And there you have it. That's the last of the elements. There's the court cards for the pentacles. And that wraps up the 4 elements of the DarkWood Tarot. Looking at this deck, there's aspects of it that I will explore personally. It has dark imagery, which gives the environment of these cards the place that you need to be in for doing shadow work. I will have to read a little bit more in the guidebook. Her guidebook's like about 280 pages, and she goes into specifics as to how each card works and can give you more specifics on how to read with them. This deck will work for anyone who is new to tarot. And as I had mentioned earlier, if you want something that is on the darker side, because there are some people who just love dark imagery, this is a wonderful deck to go with. Shadow work wise, as I mentioned, I'm going to have to explore this deck and see if it can actually tap into the shadow self. Everyone has a different aspect of their own shadow self. And there are decks that can attune to that side of you more so than others. So I feel with the decks that I have, I don't have that many. I don't feel I have a shadow deck. I have a deck called the In-Between Tarot, which basically tells the story of what happens in between, let's say, the Fool and the Magician. What are those steps that happen between? It reads more at a subconscious level. Like the moment that the Fool jumps off or falls off the cliff to the moment of meeting the Magician. So that to me deals not so much with dark, but it deals with the subconscious at a different level. Here, this is more of a deck that wants to address more of negative energy and how to work with that negative energy and to transform it into something positive. So I need to explore that with this deck because, as I mentioned, a lot of the images, they're in a dark environment. They're in a dark forest, the forest representing our inner self. But again, it's how I connect visually and energy with all the decks that I have. Some decks are tuned to to more financial aspects or relationships, just general tarot readings. I have some decks that are specific for healing. The deck I got recently is like that, and I'm going to be working more with that deck. So anyhow, with that being said, definitely try and explore with the DarkWood Tarot. The imagery, it's very simple. There's nothing too complicated. Your eye goes into the images. I'm going to show one other card. Your eyes goes to the image. There's not a lot going on. You can focus on the scene itself and what's in the scene. If it's animals, humans, vampires, fairy tale, elves, anything like that, you could focus on that. It's not an abundance of information. So it's an easy deck to cut your teeth in, your spiritual teeth in. So that's it. Those are my thoughts. I'm open to exploring this deck. It's a deck that I feel from my heart that I will probably not use in readings too much unless there is a specific situation that I feel will work best. And again, I have to utilize this guidebook and see how Sasha's perspective on the DarkWood Tarot can relate to how I want to read with this deck for myself and for others. So that's it. Thank you for hanging in there an hour and 15 minutes going through this. I will be doing this preview again, but on Instagram TV tomorrow at 11:30 in the morning, Pacific Daylight Time. And it will be quicker. It's going to be, I may not even have time to go through all the decks or through all the cards. So I'll answer more questions there, show a few images, and discuss it a little bit more for anyone who has questions. I'm Amy, the Mystic Rose Tarot. My website is www.themysticrosetarot.com. Instagram, the Mystic Rose Tarot. I'm on Patreon. I'm not really promoting it so much right now because I'm focusing on a lot of decks here at the moment. But my Patreon account is the Mystic Rose Tarot. If you'd like to leave a donation to do any future readings, I am definitely open to that. Any questions, please contact me. My email is therosemystic@gmail.com. But all that information is on my website, which you could see in my profile. Have a wonderful day. I hope my preview made some sense, but again, I was basing it originally on how I was pulling each card and seeing how it works and how it worked with everyone. Thank you again. Have a wonderful weekend. I will be back here on Monday to do Moon Oracle readings and to do tarot reading requests. Be safe and have a wonderful day.